Matikela, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to look at something that Bongani Ndanzi and Mnisi did. In fact, it's Mnisi. Advocate Charles Mnisi did yesterday when he was conducting his cross-examination with Ubongani Ndanzi. Because I did not realize this, but as I rewatch, I'm like, my goodness, no ways. So Umnisi had a conversation with Ubongani Dance. That was, I would call it a conversation because tell me why it sounded like it was advice and it was also shade throwing at the judge. And Umnisi was evoking with Section 86 from Ujadrat. And if Ujadrat had missed what happened, then also he's in trouble because what Umnisi did there, he was putting it on record that this is where you are supposed to invoke Section 186 and you are sitting there and doing nothing. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He was like, you are sitting there doing nothing and you are supposed to invoke Section 186 because if you are a guy that is always telling us in this court that in the interest of justice, here is the interest of justice. Here is the interest of knowing whether those confessions were done voluntarily or not. Call him Giaco yourself as the judge and use a Section 186. I don't think Ujad Rata is ready for these guys because they are coming for him. They are coming at him to do right by the case. Otherwise, everything is like going straight forward when it comes to the defense lawyers. They are coming with everything, guns blazing, and they are not playing. Tell me why Umnisi is even reading the ethics that were expected, calling Umjiako officer of the court. And he is also saying to Urata, wena, melu yambiza, abambizanga labambize wena. And he is sitting there, keeping quiet and doing nothing about it. Umnisi was forcing Rata's hand and putting that on record intentionally so. But I don't know Ugutu Rata would never call Umjiako. Why would he not call Umjiako? Because calling Umjiako means there won't be confessions because Umjiako will not have the mandate that he's supposed to have. Umjiako will not have the mandate that he's supposed to have because if Umjiako had a mandate, a signed mandate from Undanzi, Umjiako's mandate would have been read on record by Ubalogi. It is not there. It is not there. And Ujad Rata, he needs to prove by calling Umjiako, Uguti, he's not standing for the state. But if he's not calling for Umjiako, then it means he is standing for the state. He is the defense lawyer of the state, while he is also a judge at the same time. That is what is happening here. And also, Umnisi, the way he put those things into perspective for Undanzi to understand in simple terms, Uti, you are going to get your answers very soon. And Agati, the judge, is going to call. He compels the judge by reading that extract in the Constitution that speaks about how Giaco was supposed to act. And if in the interest of justice, there were questions that were left unanswered, this is what a judge is supposed to do. And indeed, this is what a judge is supposed to do because you need to get it all together and make sure all questions are answered. That he was forcing him to he was making sure you as a judge you need to make sure. For instance, let me quickly check here what the court described what Mnisi was describing there politely as a dispute between Ubongani Ndanzi and Mjiako. It was no longer a side issue. He even said so himself. And then he said it becomes central for the fate of this case. So this is Mnisi using those words to force Ujad Rata to do the right thing. And then he says in Ndanzi's he shows Ndanzi's position is unequivocal by asking questions that are putting Ndanzi or making Ndanzi to be seen unequivocal. Undanzi, Umnisi says, in fact, Undanzi says he never briefed Umjiako. Undanzi says he never consulted with Umjiako. Undanzi says he never authorized him to act on his behalf in any capacity whatsoever. But Undanzi does not stop there, guys. He goes further and makes an allegation that shakes the foundations of the entire trial and also the entire confessions. He says he claimed that Umjiako placed a proposal before Ndanzi, and a proposal that he should implicate himself as uBongani Ndanzi in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, then point out the killers in exchange for money. So he must point out the other accused in exchange for money. That is not a minor claim, Moss, right? That is not a speculation. That is an allegation that is so of extraordinary seriousness. I don't think it's something that, in the interest of justice, is supposed to be taken lightly. And once an allegation is placed on record, the court cannot simply look away. The court needs to ask questions. Because the moment Ndanzi says, I had no mandate, but a deal was proposed, the questions multiply. Now it's no longer about who called Mjiako. No, they become too many. Who's behind that proposal? Who's behind the money that is being talked about? And those questions multiply dangerously. If Ndanzi is telling the truth, who was Mjiako representing comes up. Who authorized such a proposal comes up. Under whose instruction was he operating comes up. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. And these questions strike at the credibility of the entire trial and also the professional ethics of the people that were involved, including Mjiako, and the integrity of the proceedings themselves. Everything is compromised. And this is precisely where Advocate Mnisi turned up the pressure. He was making sure, Judge Ratha, you know that I'm talking to you. He knew what he was doing. His reminder to the court was deliberate. He was making sure that legal practitioners are required to act faithfully with a clear mandate. He was doing that on purpose, Mnisi. That reminder was not something, Jay. It was not accidental, because if there was no mandate, yet serious criminal proposals were discussed, then the implications become deeply uncomfortable, not for individuals, but for the justice system itself. Then came the legal pivot. Advocate Mnisi self now invoked Section 186 on Judge Ratha, the court's power to call a witness when that witness is essential to a just decision. And that is where the real question now lives. Lay it out in plain sight. Ndanzi denies mandate, and Ndanzi alleges a deal was proposed. The source of Mjiako's authority is unknown. Credibility is now directly in play. If the court is to properly evaluate Ndanzi's version, then Mjiako is the missing part of it all. He needs to come and answer. And the only person that can do that, the only person who can afford to call Mjiako at this point and hear from Mjiako is who? Is Judge Ratha. He is the one that must call Mjiako and ask questions, because the state did not call him. The defense has no business of calling Mjiako. They have nothing to prove. It's them that say Ndanzi was represented by Mjiako. So Judge Ratha, if he wants the truth, he needs to call Mjiako himself. Because now we have an evidence gap there forming right before our very own eyes. And the only person that needs to deal with this is Judge Ratha. And I love the high that was put by Mnisi there, the BP that he operated there, the pressure, the high blood pressure that he put there, the BP that is up, the sugar diabetes that he dealt with, every disease, he put it there on that spot for Judge Ratha Mofokeng. Deal with it. It's on your hands now. The ball is in your court. Now I'm done with what I was saying. Because Section 186 existed for exactly these things, not no, for exactly this. For exactly this. So these are the things that Judge Ratha needs to deal with. So now it's no longer about who's educated and who's not. It's about the justice. Why is the court holding back? Why is the court holding back? One thing is certain, though, the longer these allegations remain unanswered, the heavier they hang on this trial. And Judge Rata cannot sit there and not do anything about them. He needs to do something about them. Justice for the Meyiwa family demands answers. South Africa is sitting and waiting for Judge Rata to take a stand. And the family is also waiting for him to do something about it. And the truth must all prevail because Judge Rata has Section 186. Why is he not using it to call him jail? I love what Mnisi did there. I love it. I love what he did there. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.